Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the alternate ELPAC, that's pronounced ELPAC, second scoring process. We're going to give you a super clear step-by-step guide to make sure every single assessment you do is fair, reliable, and recorded perfectly. So let's start with the basics. What in the world is second scoring? Well, think of it as a quality control check. It's like having a second pair of eyes on the assessment. You have another educator in the room, watching and scoring at the exact same time as the primary examiner. And the keyword here is independently. This is how we guarantee that our scoring is consistent and totally reliable.
Which, leads to the big question, why is this extra step even necessary? It's about so much more than just double-checking work. It's actually fundamental to the integrity of the whole assessment, especially for our students with significant cognitive disabilities.
To make this all super easy to follow, we've broken it down into 4 key parts. First, we'll cover the main goal, then we'll get your team prepared, talk about what to do on test day, and finally, wrap up with how to submit the scores. Ready? Let's jump in.
Okay, first up, the goal of second scoring. The whole point of this process is to make sure the rubric scored items are valid. Plain and simple, it all boils down to 2 things, fairness and reliability. Yeah, this isn't just some random rule. It's a system designed to establish what we call inter-rater reliability. And that's really just a fancy way of saying that a student should get the exact same score no matter which trained examiner is in the room. It standardizes everything and ensures top-notch scoring for every student. All right, now that we've got the why covered, let's get practical. Getting your team ready before testing even begins is absolutely the key to making this whole thing run smoothly. Your prep work comes down to 3 essential steps, and trust me, you can't skip any of them. First, both of your test examiners need their account set up in the Test Operations Management System, or TOMS. Second, they both have to complete the required certification in Moodle. And third, you'll need to download and carefully review the Preparing for Administration, or PFA, and the Secure Directions for Administration, the DFA. Now listen up, because this part is so important. You have to pay attention to the order here. Your Moodle certification must be done before your coordinator can even create your TOMS account. Seriously, think of the training as the key that unlocks the next step. So make sure that's your #1 priority. Okay, you're all prepped and ready to go. Test day is here. Let's walk through exactly how the scoring works when you're live in session. When you're giving the test, the DFA is your best friend. And as you go through it, you need to keep your eyes peeled for this little double checkmark icon. That's your visual cue. Anytime you see that symbol, you know that item needs a second score. This right here, this is the golden rule of the entire process. The main examiner gives the test, while the second examiner observes and scores at the same time. But, and this is a big but, that second score has to come from their own independent judgment. No talking, no influencing. That independence is what makes the whole thing reliable. So your secondary examiner has 2 ways to get this done. Option A is to enter scores live directly into the Data Entry Interface, or DEI, while the test is happening. This is super efficient, but you've got to be comfortable with the system ahead of time. Option B is to use a good old-fashioned paper score sheet during the test, and then enter the scores into the DEI later on. Just pick whichever method works best for you and your team. And that brings us to our final section, submitting the scores. The test itself might be over, but you're not quite done yet. There's one last crucial step to make sure all your hard work gets recorded correctly. So, if your team went with option B and used a paper score sheet, please remember that paper is just a temporary tool. It is absolutely mandatory to get those scores transferred into the data entry interface, and this has to be done before the administration window closes, so don't let that deadline sneak up on you. And don't worry, the system has a built-in safety net. If you're ever wondering if the scores went through correctly, coordinators can just run the second scoring report in TOMS to confirm. And if a mistake was made on a summative assessment, a STARS incident report can be filed to get it fixed. It really ensures accuracy from beginning to end. All right, let's wrap this all up. Here are the 4 big takeaways. 1. Second scoring is all about quality control and fairness. 2. Preparation, getting your TOMS and Moodle squared away, is non-negotiable. 3. Independent scoring is the golden rule. And 4. Get all those scores into the DEI before the window closes. So there you have it, the complete roadmap for the alternate ELPAC second scoring process. When you follow these steps, you're empowering your team to make sure every assessment is fair, consistent, and reliable. This process is just so vital for protecting the integrity of the assessment and, most importantly, for serving every single one of your students.
Thanks so much for watching.